I spent most of my early career as a teacher. And this is possibly because at the time I didn't have the privilege to chalk out a career path of choice. But I can definitely say that in time, I found it to be a thoroughly fulfilling and enjoyable activity. So much so that I came back to it later in my career. As teachers, we are trained to simplify and decode complex concepts for the minds of young children, restructuring magnitudinal information for the minds of young learners. If the World Were a Village is a book that helps us do just that. It reimagines the world's 7.8 billion strong population as a small village of 100 people. For example, from this book, you would learn that if the world were a village of 100 people, 50 would be men and 50 would be women. Let's use this world in miniature to look at some hard-hitting facts. 82 would be able to read and write, 18 would not. 75 would have shelter, and 25 would not. One person would have a college degree, and the same one would own a computer. Moreover, one person would own as much wealth as the rest of the 99 combined. In actual terms, this means that 1% of the world's population owns 45% of all global wealth. If you're wondering what the statistics look like for Pakistan, they aren't much different. A UNDP report in 2020 specifies that the first top quintile of Pakistan's population, or 1/5, owns 49% of the income share, which is magnitudinal compared to the 7% for the lowest quintile. And it's true that wealth begets wealth. It's only natural that with access to better education, better health facilities, and income-generating activities, the rich just keep getting richer. For this reason, the Human Development Index for the top quintile is 0.7 compared to the 0.4 of the lowest quintile. To make matters more complex, the world was hit by a pandemic. And while it appeared we were all in the same boat, if it goes down, we all go down together, COVID made inequalities very evident. It targeted the defenseless in damaged health, wrecked careers, and derailed schooling. COVID adversely affected not just the poverty-stricken, but also the elderly, minority and migrant populations, women, and the disabled. So how can this huge economic divide be addressed? And how can we cure the pandemic of inequality? The answer is more apparent than we might realize, and lies in the ways we have collectively responded to and adapted to COVID-19. Overnight, work settings moved to virtual settings, where a typical day at work seemed like a long video call. Doctors moved to e-appointment platforms to take online consultations. Schools and teachers scrambled to solutions for the continuity of learning. And online shopping became an at-home experience where people were scrolling through inventories at home and food menus. Access to e-payments became a necessity. Everyone's default answer to the problem was and is technology. Interestingly, a year and a half before COVID struck, I was presented with the opportunity to work with an education technology company in Pakistan. As anyone who's seeking career-related advice, I went to an industry expert, a mentor. The gentleman suggested that I stay away from anything that bundled education with computers and the likes. Obviously, the infrastructural challenges in Pakistan meant that we could never have an education technology company scale. Moreover, I should focus on books and offline and teacher development and such. Edtech was bound to fizzle out. But as my mother tells me, I never listen. And so I took up the challenge. I spent the next 2.5 years of my career, possibly the most exhilarating, channeling my passion for teaching by creating digital content. This content was localized, it was engaging, and was meant for K-12 students in Pakistan based on the national curriculum. What fascinated me the most was that I was taking years of learning in the classroom as a teacher to creating pieces of content that had lifelong value. Moreover, in a typical classroom where I could teach 10 to 20 students, a handful, my content was being viewed for learning by hundreds of students on a daily basis. The outreach and impact just made the effort way more worthwhile. I will never forget how in a classroom observation, we saw a teacher use a video and a game to teach an English lesson. When the lesson ended, not only did the students themselves enjoy and understand, but the teacher told us that the video had helped clarify some of her own weaker concepts. This is the simple use of technology in a low-end, peri-rural school in Punjab, where teacher turnover is high and learning outcomes are low. The notion that technological solutions will only work in an enabled and developed country does not stand anymore, because technology's biggest gift to us is outreach and access to information. In the year 2020, I worked in partnership with a project that developed a 60-minute online course on financial literacy. This was deployed through IVR, interactive voice recording. That's just a fancy name for the recordings you hear on your phone when you make selections using buttons to make a choice. You could navigate through the entire course on phone, even answering simple assessment questions using number selection without a smartphone and without internet. This is an example of a no-frills, technology-enabled, low-maintenance solution to a complex problem. This tech revolution does not limit itself to education. For a long time now, Pakistani techies have built a bad reputation, throwing around buzzwords like innovation, incubation, and disrupt. But what has really validated this colossal change in the ecosystem is the amount of investment that is coming in both from local and international investors. In the year 2021, Pakistan has raised $224 million in investment. It's these tech startups and businesses that have raised more money than the past 6 years combined. And let's look at who's raising this money. Dukaan tech, sometimes even referred to as Kiryana tech. These are businesses that are improving processes of retail and wholesale through technology. Fintechs that are working towards financial inclusion, online committee dal lein, ya insurance online khareed lein. Even digital khatas that are allowing micro businesses to maintain their ledgers and accounts online. Health tech, agri-tech, edtech, the list goes on. But for fear of throwing around more buzzwords and jargon, I will stop here and reiterate that technology does not have to be the core of your business. You don't need to build groundbreaking technological platforms and software to reap the benefits of technology. And maybe that's where the beauty of technology truly lies. As an entrepreneur myself, I have worked with numerous small businesses across the country through projects that specifically supported women-led businesses. As I saw them struggle through COVID-19, these women have persevered and pivoted using simple technology to sustain. A widow in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa sells LPG-powered tandoors or bread ovens all across the country using online platforms. A girl in Hunza sells freshly harvested honey using social media platforms, and she and her mother collectively run this business. We have seen hundreds of micro-entrepreneurs transition from complete brick-and-mortar models to online selling. With the potential of market outreach and the reduced costs of offline operations, these businesses have realized that they never need to return to physical sales. Of course, it's foolish to not consider the challenges developing countries face when they push for the uptake of technology. We hear of them all the time. There's lack of infrastructure, minimal digital literacy, and there's no connectivity. But the fact of the matter is that we cannot focus on the why it can't be done and the what's missing. This is a technological revolution that COVID has catalyzed, and it would have been here sooner or later. No matter how well we tackle the COVID virus, we all know that our lives are not going back to the way they used to be. In a dynamic where resources are limited and problems are many, we must turn to innovative solutions. We must foster and build entrepreneurs who think out of the box to make things work. It is only through the active and innovative use of technology will we collectively be able to uplift the vulnerable sections of our society. Thank you.